So you join me in front of my 550 brake horsepower fleet of 2 cars. So my Mark 7 Golf R, which I've had for 5 years, and my Fiesta ST200, which I've had for about 5-6 weeks now. So yeah, let's go through these 2 cars. Let me just tell you how I've got on with them, how I'm finding the ST200, what's kind of my thoughts kind of comparing the two as well. Different category of car, but they all try to be the same thing. They try to be fun, and they still try to be sort of practical, daily, do everything kind of thing. I mean, the Fiesta is ultimately just a Fiesta, so, you know, boot, 5 seats, and the Golf is just a VW Golf. So under the hood, as we've got it both here, you've got a 2-litre E888 engine. Is just, for me, one of the best engines out there. It's applied in so many different applications of the VW Audi group. 300 horsepower, about 280 pound-foot of torque from standard. Mine being a Mark 7, you know, slightly bigger turbo than say a GTI. Yeah, a few upgrades here and there. Haldex 4-wheel drive system, really cool. Now, 300 horsepower, I said it's a 550 brake horsepower, the fleet. This being an ST200 instead of the ST180 means it has 200 horsepower with 215 pounds of overboost. Now this car is a Revo Stage 2 car, so it has about 250 horsepower. It's got like a Stage 3 AirTech intercooler hidden there. It's got an ITG air filter. It's got some extra pipes and hoses. It's basically, yeah, it's been modified to a point where it's pretty special. And yeah, Quaife mechanical slippy diff. Looks really nice under the hood. I mean, you can see mine, I've never cleaned this at all. The previous owner must have given this a clean at some point, because this car's done about 55,000 miles, whereas my Golf R has done about 40,000 miles now. So what are they like? So this is front wheel drive. It weighs about 350 kilos less than this car. Now this car is a 3-door manual. So it's a little bit lighter than say a DSG 5-door, but you're not talking massive amounts, and with the Haldex is what adds the weight, and the fact that it's a bigger car, it's a Golf. This car, you're looking at about 1,070, 1,080 kilos, compared to that being about 1,400 and something. That does make a huge difference, certainly in the agility point of view. Tyres are actually, this is 17-inch wheels, and it's actually got upgraded brakes anyway on this, slightly thinner tyres I believe as well. This is on, both my cars are Michelin Pilot Sport 4s, so very much grippy tyres. And yeah, what's the section on these? What does it say? 205/40 R17s, and if I check the R, it's 225/40 18s. So you know, you've got a bigger section there, and that does make a difference in terms of mechanical grip, but they're not as big as say like the 19 Pretorias that you can get in these. Now the biggest difference that I've noticed, I'll be, you know, completely honest, is yeah, the quality inside. I mean, it's not really, I didn't really expect anything less. It's a nice place to be. I love the Recaros, they really hug you in, but it is very plasticky, you know, it doesn't have really any sort of like sound deadening. It's quite a raw car. Comparing that to the Golf, and it kind of makes me realise how good the Golf R is, and just Mark 7 Golfs in general. It's a special place to be. If we yeah, if we pop inside, I'll show you what I mean. Oh yeah, so 2-litre 4-cylinder, by the way, 1.6 4-cylinder. So they sound a little bit better than say like the 3-cylinder you can get in sort of like the Mark 8. Less kind of pops and bangs on this, it's just like more raw noise. And the same with this. These are both 2017 cars, April 2017 cars, so they are before basically like OPF filters came in, just before, so they sound quite nice. This is completely stock. This has a Miltech exhaust, so yeah, it's a little bit louder. Yeah, and as we check here, you know, just basic stuff like the gas strut kind of included, battery cover, not something that you get kind of here. You've got kind of, yeah, use yourself to kind of lift it up, so it's a little bit easier. My car is in limestone grey, which looks very nice. I mean, I just love it. You get like the quad tailpipes as well. This car is in storm grey, which is unique specifically to the ST200. You won't see this in kind of any other car, which I like, a little bit more unique. There are about 872 left on the road. Yeah, not too many. And there's actually not that many 2017 Mark 7 Golf R 3-door manuals around either, so I do like having a little bit more of a unique car. Yeah, that's kind of what I like. Just to kind of show you around the back, both cars have diamond cut wheels, which does mean if you do curb them, you can only repair them a certain amount of times. Basically repairing it sort of shaves off a little bit of the diamond cut. For the ST200 you get a little ST200 badge, but other than that it's quite subtle. There's like the Miltech exhaust as well, it shines up really well. Spoiler, which obviously does absolutely nothing, but looks quite cool. Going round to the Golf R, VW badge, you just get a little R badge, nothing major. And the 3-door manual looks for those quad pipes. I absolutely love it, and I'm pretty obsessed with this car. Now if you check the inside, it's just a little bit better quality. Blue sort of striping there. You get the Recaro, not Recaro, sorry, you get a little bit more body hugging seats. A lot of like sound deadening stuff. Manual gearbox is really nice. That my Fiesta has a short shifter. This is just standard. The clutch is actually firmer in the R, which is quite interesting. Yeah, again, just nice little touches. Nice little storage place. Level wheel is nice. It's underfloor storage. It's a really nice place to be, and the dials light up blue as well, which is very cool. Yeah, can only recommend Mark 7 Golf and Mark 7 Golf R. So how am I finding both cars? And excuse the sunglasses, by the way, I don't often like doing that, but it's just so sunny, I literally can't see a thing. I'll be squinting. How am I finding them both? Well, the Golf R it's made me realise how good it is now that I've got the ST. You know, I've got to be honest, like, the ST is fantastic. I'm not 100% sure if I would have probably preferred one completely stock. This car obviously being quite tuned, firmer suspension. I do have a few of the standard stock parts which could go back on it, but I don't know if I want to keep tweaking it. So yeah, it's kind of a little bit up in the air with the ST. I need to drive it a little bit more and enjoy it. But yeah, it certainly made me realise how unbelievable the Golf R is. Like even basic stuff like the lights, they proper light up the bi-xenons. It doesn't quite do the same with the ST. Paintwork as well. I mean, this is a 5-year-old car and there's like hardly any stone chips. It's just, yeah, it's just magnificent. It's just made, yeah, it really has made me appreciate the art even more. And it's definitely a car that I would see myself keeping forever and ever and ever. The ST, it's kind of like, I had one for 4 years from 2013 in Spirit Blue. And I wonder if that was me then rather than now, and I'd probably suit an RS now, but then there's no point in me getting a Focus RS because I have a Golf R. So that's kind of where I'm sort of thinking. I'm going to enjoy it for a little bit longer, but yeah, not 100% sure. I can obviously 100% recommend these cars to people. Probably slightly struggling to gel with it as much as I thought I would, because it's super fun and super raw, but you know, you just can't be like that all the time on the road. You just can't. You have to kind of chill out, and you really can't chill out in this car, even in sort of like with like stock suspension and stock everything. It's very jiggity, you basically, it's difficult to get traction. You know, it's not efficient in that regards compared to the four-wheel drive. It's not as planted. It's great in the corners. I mean, trust me, there's a million billion things which are great about this car, and yeah, I'll always love it for that. But yeah, I'm gonna have a little bit more of a think, a little bit more of a play. I've really enjoyed the actual going to the fast forward events, probably more than the car, which is weird. I guess I just always loved that kind of community kind of passion. That's why I kind of started the channel with the Golf R, because it's a community channel. That's kind of why I liked it. Yeah, there's the ST. Does look super good, and it does drive really well. The one thing I would say to anyone who has an ST, get upgraded brakes. This has upgraded like EBC yellow stuff pads and upgraded discs, and it's got braided lines. It makes such a huge difference. Stock brakes on the STs are just a complete waste of time. They're just useless. This kind of brings it up a little bit closer to the R, not obviously quite as powerful because the R has much bigger discs, 340mm discs, and these are like little tiny ones really in comparison. But yeah, my grey crew is is remaining. I mean, check that out. Pretty cool, these two cars, and I'm very fortunate to be in the position to be able to have both of them, and still trying to get to grips a bit more with the ST200, trying to see what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. I guess the biggest thing for me is like, how much would I be driving this car in the winter? That's the biggest thing, because if the answer is going to be not that much, then yeah, it kind of questions whether or not I should keep it. But certainly we're in the summer months, we're in early July, so plenty of sun still to enjoy, and we can kind of take it from there. But yeah, definitely an entertaining car, and for the price point, I don't think you can get any better than one of these. Particularly if you get a limited one, that's great, but even if you just got a normal Bogo stock one, preferably from 2016 to 2017, because they revised the suspension, they revised a few things. I had a 2013 car before and it was very firm, like arguably even firmer than this. And this is on lowered eye back springs. So things there to kind of think about. The R is just, yeah, I have no more words to say about how good that car is. And if you're ever in the position to get one, or if you're thinking about getting one, yeah, get one and try and get one, as I normally say, one owner car, 1 or 2 owners, well looked after, basically one like mine. But not gonna lie, no intention of selling that, because it's just like, what would I replace it with for that kind of money? There's nothing that you could replace it with. Obviously the ST is different, because although it's the same thing, there's nothing else I would replace it with. You know, it's a second car at the end of the day. So I've got that kind of thing to think about. One thing I should stress as well is that one of the real big things which I love about this car is that insurance is pretty cheap. You know, I'm in my 30s, but it's always been cheap with the Golf R, to be fair. Running costs, servicing, maintenance is also really, you know, reasonable, considering what sort of performance you're getting. Any sort of parts replacements are very affordable, even particularly more probably for the Ford. But you know, I haven't had any real issues with the Golf. It's not been horrendous, other than, well, I replaced the clutch about 5,000 miles ago, which cost me about £1,000. You know, tyres, to replace tyres, you're looking at like 90 quid a wheel. It really is really good. And that's another big thing. And again, I went for April 2017 car because you get the lower tax bracket as long as the cars are less than £40,000. Both of these cars are. That was about £24,000 new because it was a limited edition model. Quite expensive actually at the time. My Golf R would have been about £33,000 when it was new. I did not buy it new, and I did not pay that. But yeah, they were less than 40 grand. So I only originally started paying £140 tax. It goes up a £5 a year. That makes a big difference, particularly now with new car tax. You have to add another £310 on top of, what is it now, 165. So you need 500 quid a year down on just tax. For me, that's just too much. Whereas both of these together is still less than one car. And it was one of the reasons what put me off the Mark 8 Golf R. I just felt the costs were just adding up so much. And it was just like, is it really worth it? Yeah, well, you can probably see my decision here. I mean, maybe in the future when prices come down, potentially. But I've got to say, manual gearbox actually brings down sort of the costs quite a lot as well. It brings down the weight of the car. It brings down sort of like servicing and maintenance costs as well, because you don't have to have a DSG service. A little bit more simple, you know, less things tend to go wrong with manuals, and it's so much more engaging. Both these cars have really short gearboxes, really short gearing, and one of the reasons why they stopped making the Mark 7 Golf R in a manual was because it failed like emissions. It wasn't sort of emission friendly because it had such a short gearing. You'd be like, so 30 miles an hour in first, second would get you sort of up to about 54, I think. You know, it's very short compared to what you can get. Same with the ST, and that just makes it so engaging. Even though this has got a short shifter and it's a decent gearbox, that has a really good gearbox, really good manual gearbox. Clutch is a little bit firmer, but you get so much more feel. And one thing I should also stress, the steering on that is a lot better than that in terms of just steering feel. Like, this will go where you want it to go. You don't really know what's going on. You sort of drive it from the seat of your pants. Whereas with the R, it's like you actually really do feel, and considering it's an electric steering rack, I think that's pretty good. So I think the overall sort of like, yeah, it's just the Fiesta, it's just the Golf. You know, you don't have to get so stressed out about everything, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I kind of recommend both these cars. I'll keep you updated on them both, and yeah, certainly enjoying them. Still a few questions to ask and answer for the ST though. Yeah, we'll see what the future holds. Saying that, as I sit here and I look at both cars, I do wonder why I even have anything to complain about. They're epic. That is epic. I mean, look how cool it looks. And then you've got the limestone grey there. I mean, yeah, no complaints overall. I mean, they're just epic. And I love how, you know, I love the community behind both of them, and I love how they're both can still do normal day-to-day stuff whilst being special in their own right. I think that's something really hard to find, and yeah, very fortunate to have them both. So I've just gone out for a drive in the ST200, and you can pretty much ignore everything that I've just said. Oh my god, for that fun blast, because I haven't actually really pushed it, The front end is ridiculous. That quaif, diff, the load suspension, everything kind of comes together. I'm absolutely shocked. I can't believe, you know, the stuff that I've just said. Just completely ignore it. What a car. What a car. So capable. And so much fun. What a piece of kit. Yeah, Fiesta STs. Yeah, and it can actually put down its power as well, to be fair, even though it's got 250 horsepower. I think it helps with the lowered suspension. I think it helps with like the fixed engine mounts. I think it helps with the gearbox. I think it helps with the uprated RTS clutch. I think it helps with a few different things that are all part of it. Sounds epic as well. I'm still getting like 45 mpg. I mean, mind blown. Yeah, which helps, particularly in the fuel crisis we're kind of going through. Same with the R, to be fair, I can get into the 40s. Yeah, but I thought I'd kind of add that in. Obviously, I said a few things, but when you're just taking it for that fun blast, nothing is better. And this car with its mods, it turns it up, not to 11, it turns it up to like 111. This is like next level. And I love how it's in grey, you know, storm grey. Because very much similar to like my R, it's, yeah, most people just not think anything of it, you know. And I do like driving sensibly sometimes, and you know, you can drive this car slow if you want, you know, it's not too bad. But I like that sort of incognito kind of look. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. And yeah, I've got a bit of a grey crew theme going on. Maybe eventually in my life I'll have a bit more of a brighter colour. I mean, I did have a Spirit Blue one of these at some point. Yeah, what, 5 years ago I had that one. So we'll have to see. But yeah, just so much fun, so much fun. I mean, just the way it was hooking up in the corners and on a smooth bit of road, I couldn't believe it. It just, you know, I said the steering, you don't have a massive feel, but gee, it just hooks up. And I was just like, there's no way it can put down the power, and it just does it. Just because it's so lightweight, it doesn't need all that extra sort of like engineering. Less is more, less is more. Yeah, blown away. Just, yeah, I'm lost for words, as you can probably tell. One thing people forget as well is it's much thinner on the road. Being this kind of model, cars are just getting wider, fatter, heavier, and this just means that you can place it a lot better. Yeah, and you can just basically pick your lines, you can avoid certain bumps. Same with the R, because the R is actually quite thin as well. It's obviously wider than this, but it's not too wide. Yeah, modern day cars getting wider isn't really a good thing. Yeah, for this though, I mean, it's just sensational. Every little bit kind of adds up to make it, yeah, just a sensational car.